So this is going to be a quick review of the Kyocera Advanced Ceramic Revolution Series 3-inch paring knife. As the name made it somewhat clear, I guess, it's a 3-inch paring knife. It's a really popular design just because it is really practical and affordable. I bought this one 2 years ago, so this is a long-term review. I bought it 2 years ago for about $15, and it's currently for sale on Amazon for about $16. You can get it for a little bit more from Whole Foods or Bed Bath & Beyond, places like that, but these are pretty widely available. So why would you want one of these? Basically, it's the easiest way and the cheapest way to test out a ceramic blade. I'm not going to get into the specifics of why you would want a ceramic blade here, but there's a lot of reasons you would. And then this is the easiest way to get that, whether either locally or from online. These are readily available, and for under $20, it's definitely something you don't have to think too much about. That said, a cheap paring knife like this one only costs $6 or $7, so it is considerably more expensive. So I've used this knife every day for 2 years, so I could say with some degree of confidence that I like this knife a lot, but it definitely has some issues. First of all, what I like about it. So when I got it, it was just perfectly sharp. Not like a razor blade or kind of like that too sharp type feeling, and definitely not in any way dull. It's very good and very sharp, and it stayed sharp for a long time. It's reasonably sharp now, but not that sharp. I really like the handle. This is it's kind of a fatter design for a paring knife. It's got a nice molded design, and also it's held up well. You can see no burn marks, no serious gouges or scratches or anything like that. And it fits my hand really nicely. Here's a smaller design that's much harder to hold. Next, I like that you know which is the business end of this knife. A lot of paring knives like this one, you pick it up and you start cutting with this side. It's super dangerous. It's hard to see which side is which. So that is not an issue with Kyocera, very clear. Also aesthetically, I think this knife is just a really good looking knife. I bought it in black. It also comes in a bunch of different handle colors if you want red or green or blue or orange or whatever. Now let's take a closer look at the knife and see how it's held up over time. So you can see Kyocera Advanced Ceramics, and that's the model number, I guess. And this is one end. We'll call this the left end. And you could see the markings of the ceramic where it was shaved down and sharpened initially. I've never sharpened this one because I don't have a ceramic knife sharpener. Kyocera does sell one, but I don't have it. The easiest thing to do with this knife would be to mail it to Kyocera, and they will sharpen it for $10. Given that this is a $16 knife, I'll probably never do that, but it is an option, especially if you buy one of their more expensive ceramic knives. Anyway, so getting back to the blade, you can see beautiful blade, held up nicely. Oh, beautiful blade, held up nicely. And on the other side, this side has two facets. So basically the flat facet and then the sharpened one at the end. Doesn't really matter so much, but just if you're getting a feel for the design, which you don't have one of these, you know this side is faceted, this side is flat. The logo has held up over the years. I think that's very cool. You're not supposed to put these in the dishwasher, and I'd say for the first year or so I didn't. Eventually at some point you're just like, man, I do not want to sharpen this thing, wash this thing by hand again. I just want to throw it in there, forget about it. And you can see over time the blade has gotten dull. See if we can get in really close. And you can see it has sort of micro chips. And that's what happens to this ceramic. Over time, you're going to hit an apple core, you're going to hit a piece of your cutting board, not perfectly, and you'll get these tiny little chips, which very greatly reduce the sharpness of the blade. It's still very usable at this point, as I'll show you, but it's not nearly as sharp as it once was. And once you start seeing these little chips, you know it's time to send it into the factory or to sharpen it yourself. I don't have the capability to sharpen this one at home. You need specialized equipment. And you can see even at the end, there's a little micro chip. And again, I said I wouldn't get into the basics of ceramic knives, but what happens is they're very strong going down, but if you put any lateral pressure on them, they will crack very, very quickly, even a little bit. So you have to be very careful about that. And again, even though the surface, the blade is very hard, it's also very, very brittle. So whereas this can bend, that's no big deal. You would not want to do it with this blade. Let's check out the blade and see how it cuts after 2 years. So again, I'm not going to do a sawing motion, I'm going to go straight down. And that required a fair bit of force. Nice clean cut, but did require a fair bit of force. The slicing motion, it cuts fine, but definitely far from perfect. This is usually a better test of the blade. Reasonably sharp, definitely not very sharp. Make sure it's fully dry. Sharp-ish, but not very sharp. So, again, 2 years with no sharpening is something to be said. I obviously have, it's time for me to send this in, so I've been negligent there. But all told, I would say this is a very nice knife. And for $16, I think it is a clear winner. I would highly recommend it. It's not for everyone, so keep that in mind. I would not use one of these, say, as a gift. I know some people that just don't like these, but you have to baby them. I love the handle, I love the price point, but it is annoying that you really have to wash these by hand. And some people just, they don't want to deal with it. They want to get their knife, especially a cheap paring knife, get it, throw it in the dishwasher, forget about it. In a year, or half a year, or 2 years, whatever. When it's dull, you throw it in the garbage, and that's a nice thing for a $6 knife or $7 knife. So that is the Kyocera Advanced Ceramics Series 3 paring knife. Pretty nice knife. Oh, P.S. I would just note that this thing has not in any way stained. I know some people are concerned with the white blade, and it's also sold in a black blade, but this one has not stained. So that's held up really nicely. Anyway, so that is my quick review of the Kyocera Advanced Ceramic Revolution Series 3 paring knife. Thanks for watching.